Hey guys, welcome back to new video, and in this video we're going to discuss one of the most important side effect handler, launch effect. So let's get started with our video, and I'm going to show you all the things with proper example. So let's create a composable, and the composable name is example screen. And in this example screen, let's use launch effect. So launch effect is a composable function. That means you can only use launch effect within a proper composable function. So let's use launch effect, and requirement of launch effect is keys. So when you want to perform some operations, some API calls based on certain value change, then you can use that information as a form of key to your launch effect. So I want to execute this launch effect only once. That's the reason I'm using unit as my key. Let's create a function, and launch effect is a suspendable side effect handler. That means you can execute a suspend function within this training lambda. So let's create a suspendable function naming get user, and return type is string, and it simply return my name. I want to introduce here delay just to mimic the network request call. So in this launch effect you can use get user, because when you execute launch effect it eventually launches a new coroutine. Next I'm going to create here a state username, and I want to initialize this thing with remember savable mutable state of empty string. Let me import the getter setter for this remember savable. Okay, so this information will be stored in our username state, and at the end I'm going to create a box having modifier fill max size, and its content alignment is on the center. We have a text, and this text shows the information about the username. And we are pretty much done with our composable. So this composable is usually used to show the username, and this username information is coming from this suspendable function get user, and will trigger this function within our launch effect. Now let's discuss the definition of side effects. So side effect represent any action that is present outside of our word. So this action present outside of our composable word, and I want to perform this execution within our composable. So this represent a side effect, and we are using here launch effect to handle these side effects. That's the reason why we call it side effect handlers. It's time to use this example screen. So in this scaffold, let's use here example screen, pass the modifier, use inner padding, and take the whole size of our screen, execute it. Okay, so app is executing. Himanshu, this Himanshu's information is coming from this suspendable function, and when I try to rotate my screen, Himanshu, cool. So launch effect is mainly used when you want to execute a certain piece of information based on certain key change. So in our case we'll use here unit, but let's say you want to use any other piece of information which will re-trigger your lambda. You can do it very easily, and in this you can pass any type. It's not necessary to just pass primitive data types. You can also pass the data class objects very easily. Let me show you the implementation. So you can see key 1 and type is any. That means you can pass any type of object, any type of primitive data types, anything you want. And at the end it simply execute this training lambda, which is an extension over kotlin scope. Now come back to our main activity, and let's discuss how we can consume flow in launch effect. So for that I'm going to create a function get count. I'm using here a flow builder, repeat a loop for 10 times, and in this let's produce a delay of 500 milliseconds and emit the values one by one. Now it's time to collect this information in our composable. If you directly collect this get count flow in your composable, it might affect your performance, because every time when your composable wants to recompose itself, it simply attach a new collector to your get count, which is very bad. That's the reason why we'll use here launch effect, because launch effect only execute this training lambda when your key change, and in my case key is unit. That means only one time this key change. So once your composable executed for the first time, it simply attach a new collector to my flow. So let's use it. Get count flow with lifecycle. Let's get the information about the lifecycle. So to get the lifecycle information, we'll usually use here lifecycle owner, and lifecycle owner will provide us the information about the lifecycle owner, and it contains the information about the lifecycle. Next, simply collect the emissions. We can call it count, and I want to update my username with this count, so count.toString. Alright, so this is done. Let me just comment this thing out and execute my composable function. Here you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, what happened when I rotate the configuration? So again, it re-triggers this trailing lambda, and if it happens, it attach a new collector to your flow. So be cautious while using launch effect, because when you rotate the configuration, when you change the orientation from portrait to landscape, usually it re-triggers all of the execution. So be aware while using launch effect in this scenario. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope you got the clear idea what is launch effect, what is side effect, and when to use launch effect and when you don't. We'll meet in your next video. We'll discuss something new about Android. Till that, goodbye.